Make sure that's going. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. This webinar is brought to you by Strategies 2.0. We are a statewide collaborative that is funded by the Office of Child Abuse Prevention. Today's webinar is being presented by Zoe Sameth. It's called Breathe Easier, Reduce Stress, Raise Relaxation, and Serve Your Clients Better. And I don't think that this could come to us at a better time. I'm just going to run through a few housekeeping things with you. First, my name is Kerri Collins. I'm a trainer and consultant with Strategies 2.0. Some of you might know me. We've been all over the state presenting trainings to a lot of you, hopefully, that are joining us on the line today. My role today is to assist Zoe in any way that she may need, make sure that our timing is right, and help make sure that all of you have a good experience with this also. I have somebody supporting me today, and that's my colleague, Alma Tovar. Alma will be checking the chat box. If you're having any kind of technical difficulties, if you want to send her a direct message, she will help you with that. She is amazing, and I appreciate her so much. I want to explain a little bit about the go-to platform for you. You can all see that you have a little kind of reddish orange arrow. If you click on that, it will either open or minimize your taskbar. You have joined us today either by telephone or by your microphone, your speakers within your computer. If you click on the telephone, that little circle that says telephone, it will give you the phone number to call. It will also give you an access code and a PIN number. It's really important that you enter all of those numbers, because if you would like me to unmute you in the process of today's webinar, I would not be able to do so unless you had entered all of those numbers. We're going to be using the chat box during the day. You've all been joining us this morning via chat box. We really appreciate that. So Zoe will be asking questions throughout the webinar, and we'll ask for your responses. Both Alma and I and Zoe will all be managing the chat box. You can also raise your hand, like our friend, I want to say your name right, I'm going to say it wrong. Anyway, my friend from Ukiah, she was brave enough to raise her hand and we could hear her voice. So you can do that, and we will unmute you in order to ask a question or make a comment. But I do want you to know that right now, all of your microphones are muted. So you don't need to worry about if you have any background noise going on at your own household. You are going to be just fine. A little bit about Strategies 2.0 is that this webinar is being recorded, and it will be uploaded into our Strategies 2.0 YouTube channel. So within a couple of days, you would be able to access this webinar if you wanted to share it with your family, with your colleagues, with whoever. You'll also find all of our other strategies webinars there, as well as our learning communities and a series of 4 webinars on vehicles for change. At the end of the webinar, you will automatically get an evaluation that will pop up. We really encourage you to provide us with feedback. That's how we get better at what we do. You can see that we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. I invite you to go to our website, www.strategiesca.org, to see what future webinars we have coming up. And also, we are offering some virtual trainings at this time. So with all of that, I'm going to take a deep breath, and I want to introduce our speaker today, Zoe Sameth. Zoe is a bilingual Spanish-English trainer, speaker, and consultant working with all ages to raise well-being and cultivate more awareness, connection, resilience, and joy. And boy, we need all of those things right now. Through these expanded capabilities, individuals, families, and organizations are able to navigate challenges with more ease. Zoe has her master's degree in experiential education and over 30 years experience in the field. She has provided support to educational and family strengthening programs throughout California, as well as nationally and internationally. It has just been such an honor and pleasure to meet Zoe. We were introduced a couple of months ago, and you know how sometimes you get introduced to somebody and they just automatically become your best friend and somebody that you feel like you've known your whole life. And that's how I feel about Zoe. I'm so excited that she has agreed to participate in this today. So what I'm going to do at this time is I'm going to make Zoe the presenter. And she's going to take over the screen, and she's going to take it from there. Can't see your screen yet, Zoe.
Oh, I'm not seeing the invitation. How do I've seen the invitation before, but it's not showing up. There's
all right, let me try that again. There it is. Okay, good.
Now I am seeing myself, but you're probably not seeing my PowerPoint right now, right? There we go. Good morning. We're good? Okay, we're going. Good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to see you arriving. I wish I could see your faces. That was a beautiful introduction, Kerri, and I'm so grateful to be here with all of you because you're doing so much, whether you're in the field or supporting people in the field, you're doing so much and working so hard right now. So this is your time, your opportunity to receive, to take a deep breath, to take a big pause and maybe start or restart some practices so that you can continue to do what you do. And as Kerri said, to start re-experiencing that joy that has been hard for a lot of us to access during this time. Your work already was very challenging, and there's just a whole other level right now for many, for most probably. And I just wanted to speak to what Kerri said. That was very nice, Kerri. We did have an immediate connection, and Kerri mentioned that she was happy I agreed to do this. And I have said no to webinars multiple times. I've been encouraged because I could make a wider reach that way, but for those who have been at my trainings, you know that my trainings are super interactive. I'm really relating to you a lot. There's a lot of back and forth. People are relating with each other. And I just couldn't really fully imagine how this could work. And then when I wasn't able to do my work because of this time, and Kerri invited me to do this, it was an immediate yes. If I can serve in this way, of course, is to support those of you who are still doing the work, you know, very deeply. The anxiety came later around the webinar. So we're all doing new things right now. We're all stretching in so many different ways in these unprecedented times. So I hope that you'll stretch and stumble and grow along with me, try something new, just as I am today as we go along here. So, and I see 80 have arrived. We may have quite a few more. And I want you now to just do whatever you can, please, to sit back, step back, prepare yourselves to just be and receive and take this time, as I said, to replenish. You don't have to take notes. The notes I want you to take are in your body, in your mind. You may experience some relief in your heart. Those are the notes you need. You'll have the recording, you'll have handouts that detail the breathing exercises, for example. So if you can turn off your phone or put it on silent mode or buzz, that would be great, vibration. If you have a door that you can close, whatever you can do. If you need to get a glass of water, and get comfortable. And we shall begin. So you're gonna see a few more slides like this, which I will get to. I wanted to let you know what we're doing today. Our journey today in learning how to and experiencing how to breathe easier and reduce stress and raise our relaxation, both for ourselves and for those that we serve. They will feel it. We can serve them better when we do this. It's not about arriving somewhere else. Our practice today is really about taking the time to pause. I really appreciate all of you for signing up and showing up today. I know there are so many other things that you could be doing right now. There's so many online offerings and classes and trainings, and that you chose this. I really appreciate that for yourself, and again, for the people whose lives you touch. So today we're taking the time to pause, to create the space, to cultivate more peace, not at some other time, not in the past, not in the future, right now, right where we are. So let's take a moment to practice that right now. And my screen is not changing. So see, we're all doing new things. This hasn't happened before. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to take a deep breath as I learn the technology here and do my stumbles. Blame it on the computer. But I want to go back and read that. Let's practice just what I spoke, our journey of learning how to experience and practice breathing easier, reducing stress, and raising relaxation. So we're not thinking about where we're going to get. You don't even have to think deeply about where you're going to use it. It's just time to pause. We're creating the space together. How wonderful that, you know, we have up to 200 colleagues in the field of family strengthening doing this together, supporting ourselves together to cultivate more peace right where we are. So let's take a moment to do that right now. So what I'd like you to do is, if you can, put your feet on the ground, whatever you need to do to get comfortable, but it can help you to ground and arrive present if you can have your feet on the ground. If you're comfortable in a different position and that's better for you, please do that. And the first thing I want you to do, and we're going to be talking more about why we do this, but what I want you to just do is check in with yourself. You can have your eyes open or closed and just check in and notice how you're feeling right now. So notice how you're feeling. You can do an overall check. You can also notice how you're feeling emotionally in your heart. How you're feeling in your mind. Is your mind racing? Is it wondering? Is it silent? Whatever's going on, whatever's going on. Just noticing, no judgments. If you have judgments, notice that. And in your body, how's your body feel this morning? So now take a deep breath and breathe as deeply into your body as you can. Maybe starting with your feet if you can. Breathe that far in. Just pretend to if you don't feel like your breath can go that far. Up through your legs. You can take more than one breath if you want, but just with that deep breath through your legs, through your bottom, into your belly. All the way up, and then exhale. Do it again at your own pace. And breathe out. On the next deep breath, I want to invite you to make a sound or a sigh as you breathe out. That can really help release any added tension, whether in our mind or our heart or our body. Sometimes this is easier when we're in a group and everybody's doing it. There might be other people in your home where you don't feel comfortable, but if you're comfortable to do that, go ahead and just breathe in. Just letting it go so we can be right here. And just take a moment to notice whatever you are contacting, whether it's your chair or a couch or your feet on the ground. Your feet are on the ground, or maybe through the chair, imagine roots going down into the earth. Just notice the support that's here for you right now, just physically. And take another deep breath and check in again. How do you feel right now? Notice if you feel anything different from those few moments ago when we checked in before we did this quick little grounding, centering, coming present exercise. And notice how you feel in your heart, your emotions, your mind, your body, your whole being. And if your eyes aren't open, because I can't see you, you can allow them to slowly open your eyes. And again, I will be talking about the value of these check-ins, and Kerri is going to launch a poll so that we can all see how this worked for different folks, because different practices will work for us at different times, and different practices will work for different peoples at different times. So this is something I do in my trainings a lot. So I've used this, and just, you can select one of the following. If you feel like it doesn't fall into there, you can throw something into the chat box. I probably won't be reading the chat box, but Kerri and Alma will, and you can read it, and they may read something out. So if you feel any more relaxed, any more present or connected, maybe you feel some more energy, maybe because you're relaxed you don't, but something that has you feeling like you're more here, go ahead and do a thumbs up. You check that box. And if you feel pretty much the same, feel as I felt before I did that exercise, you do that, check the box that says thumbs in the middle. If you feel worse, which is nothing you did wrong, and there are reasons why that could be, then go ahead and do thumbs down if you feel worse or more stressed after doing that. And sometimes you might feel a little bit of both. Part of me feels worse, part of me feels better, and that could be the thumbs up and down. And if you feel like you want to try it again, either because it did work or it didn't, then you can check the box. Also, you can check more than one box that says, I want to practice this again and to share it with others. So go ahead and put your answers in, please, and Kerri will read those out. And
yes. Oh,
Kerri,
no, you cannot. I'm sorry, Zoe, I didn't set it up that they could select more than one. So they can only select one. If you're having a problem getting into the poll, sometimes if you minimize your screen, that will help you get into the poll. Otherwise, like Zoe said, go ahead and put your answer in the chat box. We have, a little over half of you have voted so far. I'm going to keep it open for a little bit longer.
And I would add then that perhaps if it really helped you a lot to the degree that you, or for whatever reason, if you want to practice again and share it with others, then I would say check that box. Unless you feel compelled to check another box, check whichever box you want. But can't do more than one. That would give us some information. Yeah. How much time do you want to give it, Kerri? Because I can talk to the check-in if you want to give it a little more time.
I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds. We've had almost 3/4 have voted, and then some are putting their answers. So I'm going to count this down. So oh good, the minimized work. I'm going to close this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We had a few more.
I'm going to share the results. So we had 62% of you said thumbs up. Great. 23 thumbs in the middle. Nobody said thumbs down. 3% said thumbs up and down. And 12% I want to practice this again. And I would imagine that if I had remembered to make this, that you could check more than one. I would imagine that many of you would have also have checked that box.
Right.
So I kind of want to turn it over to Alma and have her read out some of the chat box answers for us.
Thank you.
There's no answers, only that the minimize worked. Oh yes, I also want to practice this again and share with others. That's the only answer on the chat box.
Thank you for adding that in. And I just want to speak a little bit to the check-in here. Thank you for those that participated. And Kerri, I can see my view. Does that mean I need to put my slideshow back on?
It should be back on your blank slide, so you should be okay to go ahead and move forward.
Okay, great. So the check-in is really important for a number of reasons. It's great for me because I can, without seeing you especially, know how this is impacting. It's really important for you and for the people you work with to be able to know how you are in any given moment, so you know if you need to do something different to take care of yourself. And it also helps you know if an activity works for you to do it, check in before and after. And what I would suggest is that for those whose thumbs were in not up or up and down, keep an open mind about that. That took just, it was maybe a minute and a half, I think, that we did the relaxation for, that really quick moment. And that quickly people felt more relaxed and present and probably more ready to learn as well. And so for those who had your thumbs in the middle, it could be that you need more for it to change. It could be that you were already feeling pretty chill, and that little moment didn't make a huge impact because you'd already done what you needed to do, or you were already in that place. Thumbs will go down sometimes, and there are a number of reasons for that. Sometimes things just don't work for people. Somebody might have the idea that it's not going to work, or it may be that something about it is a stressor. Sometimes it can be when we have very difficult situations or pain in our life, whether it's in our body, say the pain's in our neck and shoulders, we tighten around it to protect ourselves from the level of pain. And when we breathe and start to relax, we will start to feel it more. That's part of the healing as we're feeling it, but we might start to feel it more. Sometimes people will say, I don't know why I just had tears running down my face. The same thing, you may have experienced it before, happens with emotions, where we'll contract around them to protect ourselves. And when we feel safe and when we relax, then the emotions may show up. So that could be a reason for both thumbs up and down or thumbs down. And I do encourage you to practice this again and share it with others. Just practice taking the moments that you can and noticing how quick you were able to get there. And those of you that did not, noticing how that worked for others, even if not for you, that you might share with others or try again yourself. So thank you so much for that. And what we're really doing today in large part also is learning to become more present with whatever is happening in the moment. And these are such unprecedented times. And I know that, especially in my early years, and I would say still a lot of the time now, I spend a lot of time in the future, maybe worrying or thinking about how I'm going to make something happen. And that's not a bad thing. We do need to plan. The worry won't solve it. And also part of my family history is a lot of regret. So looking at the past, and during times of such great uncertainty where things are changing more than ever, it's all the more important to be present so that we can tend to what we need to for ourselves and others, and all the more challenging. Some of you may have experienced that, wondering when things are going to change, when things will go back to normal. Will things go back to normal? Do we want things to go back to the old normal? And I actually, what brought me to this work in large part, besides having a rather stressful, along with the positive aspects too, of my childhood. When I was 21, I studied in another country, in Sri Lanka, which is a small island just south of India. And when I was there, I was introduced to meditation for the first time, to mindfulness, before it arrived here 30, 40 years later in big form. And I'll speak to mindfulness a little bit more as we go on. But for the first time in my life, I was focusing only on one thing in a particular practice, and that was my breath. And I experienced a peace and relaxation that I'd never experienced before. It was really big. It really got me. And I wanted more. And then 5 or 6 months later, the rest of the students had left the country. I was on a studies abroad program. And suddenly and unexpectedly, I found myself caught in the beginning of a very big, it was a small island, but a civil war that was very frightening and violent. And I didn't know what was next. I didn't know if I would be able to leave, or how. And there were similarities to this time in that I did see my world as I knew it completely change, going from the life I had washing my clothes down at the river to not being able to leave the house that I was in due to the curfew, being in a house that had one very kind person and a dear friend, and 4 other men who were a little scary. A man who was a very kind host and an alcoholic. So what some of your families might experience when we were locked down under the curfew, that was not a positive experience. And fortunately, I was able to leave. I wanted to add one other thing, the similarity to not being able to leave the home. We ate rice every day until we ran out of food, and then the wonderful person went to the street, and on the underground circuits, he was able to get an egg that we could all split. And I didn't have internet. I didn't have a way to be in contact with the outside world. So I believe that experience, which I did survive as we're all surviving this one, made me somewhat more resilient for these times. And I would like to say that that experience of peace from that focused breathing carried me through it gently. I hadn't practiced it enough for it to really take hold like that. And I'm still practicing and learning lots of techniques to find my way back to center over and over. And anything that I can pass on and re-practice with you. I said to the folks in the beginning that this is equally a wonderful opportunity for me because I haven't been able to do my work, and I learn so much when I share this with others. So I really encourage you, whatever works for you, to please share with others. So I'm going to go on to the next slide, and oh, it's blank. Well, for those of you who've been in my trainings where I have a slideshow, I want to assure you I did not forget, and I did not have time to finish. I left it blank on purpose because I want to really drive home this experience of taking space, which is what we're doing today. Taking a breath. You might want to practice with me again. I can go at a pretty fast pace, and I have to remember to pause. I hope that I'm speaking slowly enough for all of you. I asked Kerri to intervene if I'm speaking too quickly. So the pause is really a big part of what mindfulness can bring to us and teach us. And I'm not going to go into deep detail around mindfulness. I know when I first heard about it in Sri Lanka, I was like, everybody's talking about mindfulness. Like, what does that mean? Mindfulness. My mind is definitely full, and it actually can apply to that in some degree to help us become more present with all aspects of life and not just our mind. And one definition of mindfulness, and I'm mindful, I'm aware that I'm using a lot of words and we're going to be doing more practices soon. One definition is to pay attention, to focus. It's a particular way of paying attention and focusing with an open, non-judgmental, and curious mind. And that's what I'm asking you to do today, to practice so that you can apply it in other aspects of your life as well. And I would add to that with a kind attitude, like almost as though you're filtering it through your heart, that open, curious, non-judgmental mind of noticing. So the breath is one thing that we can always use as something to pay attention to. And speaking of noticing, I do want to share a couple other techniques that are both trauma resources and mindful resources. We might call it mindful seeing. So I'd like to ask you right now, again, to take a deep breath, and if your feet are on the ground, to feel them on the ground. Good. And then whether you want to focus on the screen, the blank screen, or the white around the slide, or anything right in front of you, just take a moment to put your vision focused on that, to look at that. And then I want you to simply look, it doesn't matter if it's left or right, look to one side of the room. And let your eyes look too. And then back to the other side. And just do that a few times on your own, back and forth. And this is something I learned recently in an online meditation retreat when we first started sheltering in place, that doing this back and forth, left to right, does help settle our nervous system. So it can really help as both the nervous system and as a trauma resiliency resource. And notice if it's making any difference for you. And then what I'd like you to ask you to do, these are, as I said, very new, disorienting, unprecedented times for most of us. So I'd like you to look around in the room that you may normally spend a lot of time in, and just look around and see what you notice. You're really just orienting yourself to your environment. You might notice things that you've never noticed before, or that you notice differently. I've had fun doing this with children in their classroom. They may have been in it for 7 months and they start noticing things they never noticed before. The teacher who's had the classroom for 10 years. I'm noticing cobwebs. But just really so that you can anchor yourself in your environment with all this disorientation that's happening. And I recommend that you try this practice when you go to new places, if you're going out to meet clients, wherever it is that you're traveling to, because you're traveling there in new ways, no matter what. Everything we're doing is so different. And this practice is called orienting. And take another breath. And now I want to share a practice that can be a resource if one, for example, you feel like you need to settle your nervous system or calm yourself or even bring yourself up. What I want you to do is look around. It could be outside. I'm lucky to be able to see many trees outside my window. It could be one of my beautiful birthday cards, for example. Find something in your space that you can look at that feels good for you to look at. It might calm you, it might lift you. You might like the color or the shape or the texture of it. Just find that and look at it for a few moments. And take it into your, as much as you can, into your presence, your mind, your heart. Perhaps physically, you might feel that in your body as you're looking at it. And after you're done looking, I would invite anybody who wants to put something in the chat window about what they found. And Kerri, I'm going to ask you to launch this poll again. Then we're going to check in and see the impact that this exercise had on folks. I haven't done this in this type of training before. It felt relevant to this time and haven't done it certainly on a webinar. So again, if you felt like it helped you in any way become more relaxed, present, and connected, you might have had some disconnection with the talking, but if it then brought you back when you did that, if you found that it had some positive effect, and if it's something you want to practice it again and share with others potentially, just mark that box.
I was able to go in, Zoe, and change it, so now they can select all that apply.
Wonderful. So you can put the thumbs in the middle if you feel about the same as before we started the exercise, or if you came back to about the same. Again, you might have, with talking, you could get pulled out, but then you might have come back in doing the practice. Thumbs down if you felt stressed or afterwards. Up and down if part of you felt better, part worse. And if it's something you want to keep practicing and share with others, then you can check that box too. And welcome to the folks that have arrived newly.
We have over half of you have voted so far, so I'd like to keep it open for a few more seconds, give you a chance. If you're having problems getting in, if you minimize your screen, sometimes that will help, or if you would like to just put your response in the chat box, that's good too.
Yeah, wonderful, and I'm seeing some responses, and it's really helpful for me since I haven't done this exercise. I haven't done a webinar before, but in this particular slideshow format, and just felt that a little bit more of the trauma resourcing in this way might be helpful. And I appreciate folks that want to try it again.
I'm going to go ahead and close this in about 10 seconds.
Great.
5, 4, 3, 2, and then let me share the results. So in this particular exercise, about 50% were thumbs up, 35% thumbs in the middle, 6% thumbs up and down, and 33% want to practice this again and or share it with others. That's great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for practicing it, experimenting that with me, and also thank you for doing the poll. That helps all of us. Okay.
And we also had some more thumbs up actually listed in the chat box. A couple more thumbs up.
Okay,
so
great.
You.
Comments listed? No comments. Okay. So here's that pause. Every time we see that pause as an opportunity to just take a deep breath. And I had fun with this slide because I used the typewriter script, and I just thought about the slower days. You know, I remember when my nephew was so fascinated by just even my electric typewriter because
Zoe, we're not seeing your slide. Can you click on your slide for us?
Okay. How about now?
Let me make sure that you are still the presenter here.
That's all that's showing.
Hold on just that's okay. Sometimes we get little hiccups, so
patience.
Nope, still not seeing it.
Do you have me?
I see you. I just don't see your slide.
And I don't see me. I only see my slide. I'm going to go through slides. I'm changing them and you don't see them?
Nope. I'm going to make you presenter again and see. Actually, that might just be me. Alma, are you seeing things okay?
I see her, but I don't see the slide.
Okay, waiting to view Zoe's screen, it says. Hold on, this is what we get when we're doing we're depending on technology. So
I think you need to click on show my screen.
Yeah. So hold on. Yeah. Oh, Deborah's saying breathe. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for that reminder. We will definitely breathe through this and we'll just be patient.
This is a great idea. I love the learning. Here, now it says, do I want Abigail, the presenter? Abigail probably doesn't want that, so I'm going to click off that. I don't know why that came up.
I might make me the presenter, and then I can advance your slides for you.
So I would like what Tosi, and Tosi, apologize if I don't say your name correctly. This is what Tosi wrote. Tosi. It definitely made me slow down my thought process. I'm glad you said that because I haven't done this practice a ton myself. Especially the back and forth. And so hearing that from you, and I am someone who can really use help in slowing down my thought process, which is why I have learned these practices. So thank you. I also noticed something on my desk that made me respond with a smile without really thinking about it. Well, that's great awareness. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Okay, so are we seeing it yet?
No.
Okay.
Can you go in and just make sure that your slideshow is in presenter mode?
Yeah, I can't imagine it's not because I haven't done anything else.
I know. It's okay. This is why I have your slideshow is up in my.
Okay. Do you see it now?
Nope.
No.
Okay. I'm going to make myself the presenter, and then I will bring your slide up.
Okay.
And let's see, where are we? Oh, we're at this pause right there.
Yay. So we had a big opportunity to pause. This is the typewriter print that I was talking about that you were thinking, she doesn't look like a typewriter. I don't know. Thank you for laughing, Kerri, because I can't tell if anybody's laughing. It's a different experience. So pausing. it's really an act of kindness to ourselves. And I'll talk a little bit about how it can be an act of kindness to others as well. None of us have been through a pandemic before. I spoke about having been through something where my world totally changed, but this is a whole other thing. And some of the positives is we're all here together, we're all connected, and I don't think everybody would be able to be here without this. And we have a lot of challenges with it. So it's more important than ever to pause. And the pause is one aspect of mindfulness that I have found particularly helpful. And I'm going to talk about that more in a moment with another slide. I gave you a little definition of mindfulness earlier. I wish we had a function, but I don't think we do, where you could raise your hand to say if you know much about, if you've known much about mindfulness, but I imagine there's mixed knowledge throughout the group. So what I'm going to say is I want this to be for you. And if you want to learn more about mindfulness, I've got one resource listed at Wonderful School, Mindful Schools, and there's so much online about it. But what I did want to show you, one opportunity to take a little pause. We're practicing today. I am one that just, barrels forward, and be able to practice taking this pause fully. Very valuable.
Let me know when you want me to advance your slide, because I have control.
Change it to the pause, blank slide. I will let you control it. Okay. I have no choice. See, this is where things just go out of our control, and this is what we're practicing. So now the next slide, please. Thank you. So this slide, I'm going to close my window there so I can read it. Oh, can you see my slide now? No, we're seeing it through you. Okay, can everybody see all the words on the screen? Kerri, can you?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'll provide a slide really for those of you who it will make a difference to know that it's research and evidence-based. So back 8 years ago, Robert Whitaker, a researcher, interviewed over 2,000 Head Start teachers and found that of the teachers, 30% reported 3 or more stress-related conditions, and 25% reported 3 or more adverse child experiences. Some of you may be familiar with the ACEs model. And so there was trauma in the teachers as well. And as we know, with a lot of the families, because of a lot of the conditions they're facing, there can be a lot of trauma. But the good news on the other side of that he found through his research is that mindfulness increased healthy behaviors, which resulted in improved health and well-being, even in those who had the adverse childhood experiences. And it also lowered stress-related health conditions by 50%. So that's really helpful right now to know that better health and well-being enables better relationships. And we need that now more than ever, the better health and the better relationships, with people in small spaces and not being able to go elsewhere. There's not that alternative, as you know, there's not the flight alternative often. So that remains with the fight. So mindfulness can be a very important resource. I tend to not be the one to look to the research. I'm so glad other people are doing the research now, because when I was doing mindfulness with my students at a GED center, alternate diploma, I was working with youth, and these students were coming from very difficult, very often violent backgrounds. A lot had been in the gangs, some still were, some were still leaving them. And I won't tell the stories right now just for be able to share more practices with you, but it made such a difference. And so many of them went on to college that we didn't have students going on to college before. So I just wanted to share that with you. And at the bottom here, oh, Kerri, you can maybe point, I can't, to the resource at the bottom. And I'll provide you with this in other areas too. That gives you that link will get you to Mindful Schools and also to reading about how trauma-informed practices and mindfulness can really support each other. So now let's go to the next slide. And that's simply, I noticed when I was looking at the participant list, there was a very large number of people with Spanish surnames. And I thought for any of those whose English is a second language, there were so many words in that slide. I just wanted to translate it. I'm sure imperfectly. I can't take credit. It's Google Translate. into Spanish as well. So you'll have all these slides at the end of this, and I'm going to go a little more quickly through that. So here's that opportunity for the, oh, did you switch to the Spanish language slide, Kerri?
Yes, is that not what you're seeing?
No, I'm forgetting that I'm not in control here. I forget that all the
Yeah.
most of the time, so it's good practice. So let's take that opportunity to practice what we do have some control over, which is taking a deep breath, thankfully, that we can do that, and pausing. Noticing how that might help slow down our nervous system. So that was a lot of words. And what I'd like to do right now is I'm going to stretch some more, and we're going to stretch together, because I'm going to lead you through a little yoga practice. And I haven't done a lot of yoga. I was on a mindfulness, it was just a mindfulness practice, a meditation practice one morning last week. And again, because of technological difficulty, the teacher passed it on to somebody else who was a yoga teacher. She was in a different location. He said, show them some yoga. And she did this wonderful, simple little routine. So I contacted her and said, can you show that to me? Can you share that with me? We did a little trade. I'm going to teach her some ukulele. She taught me some yoga. And I want to pass that on to you. So I've only done it once. So you'll find me looking at my notes. I watched the video and took notes. And because we've stimulated, I have certainly up here a bit. Now I want to do the yoga practice as another opportunity to pause and become more present in our bodies and see how that affects us overall. So right now, check in with how you're feeling. Can you know the drill in your mind? What's your mind doing? In your heart, your emotions, and your body. And some folks may do a spiritual check-in as well, depending on how you roll in life right now. So what I'd like you to do is take a really deep breath. The way this yoga instructor said it, in her own words, is as you're bringing the breath up through your legs, if you can, to really breathe as though you've got your lungs in your bottom. So you're breathing from there, so that's where your lungs are. And exhale. And you may see me looking away at my notes from time to time. So gently take your palms and place them by your shoulders. And some of you may find yourself on the computer, as I do a lot more right now. So this is something for our hands and our fingers, and also for helping us just relax. So what you're going to do is make a gentle fist with your hands. And on your inhalation, slowly open your fingers. And as you exhale, slowly close them. And for any anatomy geeks, you can notice how our fingers opening and closing are looking like our lungs. And also notice how it can be hard how your nervous system might be going faster than your breath, or your hands may all be at different paces. And see if you can get your hands opening and closing to go at the same pace. See if you can slow yourself down to that. So inhaling as you open. And exhaling. Do that 2 more times. And then we'll do a little wrist therapy, especially if you've been on the computer a lot. It's good to do just circle your hands in one direction, in another. This is just some very, very simple chair yoga. Very easy, very simple. Even I can do it and teach it. And then we're going to do the same exercise, but with the hands flipped up this way. Can you see my hands, Kerri?
Yes.
Okay, so it's almost as though you're receiving a small gift. So then go ahead and exhale the hands closed, fingers coming in to form a light fist, and inhale them open. You can take an extra stretch by stretching your hands out like that, and then inhale, exhale them closed, and do 2 more like this. Don't worry too much if your inhale or exhale is doing what I'm saying. Don't worry at all. Now flip your hands out like you're pushing the walls away. And inhale as you do that, and make your arms really broad in the chest. And then as your hands come back in, you're going to bring your palms together as though you're gathering a small red energy ball close to your heart. And then again, you're going to inhale and push the walls away or push out towards the walls. And coming back in as you exhale, gather that small red ball in front of your heart back to the center. And again, inhale and push your hands out. Spread your wings. Reach in opposite directions, and exhaling, bring that little energetic ball right into the center. And do 1 more, and if it's possible, let the outside corners of your mouth turn up, Okay. So this next time, right now, I want you to flip your palms up and reach to the sky. And I'm going to have to scoot up a little bit in my chair for this. You might have to. For here, we're going to take a little turn. So turn to your right and place your left hand maybe on the right knee or somewhere on the right side of your body. And we're going to start over because I seem to be not doing that. I turn to the left. Okay, so I'm going to turn to my right, and I'm going to place my left hand on my right knee. And then your right hand is going to come right behind your spine, and it's going to support you. And you're going to do a twist. You don't have to twist far at all. Twist just as much as feels comfortable. Twist your head just as much as feels comfortable. But then let your gaze go into the far right corner of your eye after you've twisted as much as you want to. Inhaling and exhaling. And exhale. And just turn your head forward, but keep your body twisted. And then bring your whole body back to center and your hands on your thighs, and take another breath. We're going to do it the other way now. So go ahead and twist to the left. Put your right hand on maybe one of your legs somewhere as you turn, and your left hand behind you. And as you twist, see if you can bring your chest up, almost as though you're taking pride. How sometimes our chest comes up as we're feeling pride, showing a certain confidence. And then let your eyes go back into the left corner of your eye. Your gaze looks far left. And again, noticing if you can have that prideful position. It's almost like showing, a friend shared this word with me recently, confidence, both calm and confidence, that you can feel in your body then, and that will share with others too. And then bring your head back to center with the twist still there, and unwind your body and face the front. And we're going to do one more. The last thing we're going to do is bring your hands back up, and there's two choices. You can interlace your fingers, almost like you're in love, is how she put it. And then put them behind your back if that's comfortable. If that's not, and your hands down on the chair, you might feel your knuckles pressing up. If that's not comfortable, you could put your hands just on the side of the chair and pushing up that way. So go ahead and push up either from your hands behind you, maybe feeling your knuckles on the chair pressing, or from your hands on the side. And again, see if you can take that prideful position. Just let your collarbone lift up, your chest, and let your shoulders and collarbone spread wide. And take a breath, again, all the way from your legs, through the lungs in your bottom, all the way up, and noticing how that breath, the last place it lands, is in your heart. And take 2 more breaths that way. Then you can bring your hands back to rest on your thighs or wherever's comfortable for you. And notice if you can still feel a little bit of that spread in your chest and in your collarbone after doing that. Take one more deep breath and check in with how you're feeling mentally, physically, emotionally. And Kerri, going to have you launch that poll again so people can check in around that.
Can everybody see that? Good.
So thumbs up if you feel any more relaxed, present in your body, connected, maybe even more energy to be here and connect. Thumbs in the middle if you feel about the same as before. Thumbs down if you feel worse, more stressed. Thumbs up and down if part of you feels better and part worse. And you can also check, I want to practice this again, and or share it with others, or check any box more than once if you would like.
We got lots of in the chat box. You know, yes, there's more energy. It's really good.
Thank you for reading that.
Yeah, we've had almost half of you vote, so I want to keep it open. That was really nice, Heidi says.
Great, Heidi. I'm glad that worked for you, Heidi.
Yeah. I think this is really what people are needing right now. A little over half of you have voted. I'm going to keep this open for another 10 seconds.
Okay.
A little dizzy, so much breathing in my lungs. Yeah, it could.
Yeah, if we're not used to that much oxygen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good noticing, though. Whoever noticed that,
Yeah.
that was noticing.
So I'm going to go ahead and close in 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let me share the results with you. So we have 86% that are thumbs up, 6% in the middle, 4% up and down, and 35% that definitely want to practice again. People are saying it felt good. The exercises are amazing. A couple of people were a little dizzy, a little lightheaded, and I find that I forget to breathe in my day, and that's probably what's causing that, I would imagine, right, Zoe?
Maybe you weren't breathing when you were doing it, or maybe you were just breathing in a different way that if you try it again, you can try and regulate differently. I can't answer for sure why that would be. If you're not breathing, could definitely do that, but it could be the turning and so forth. I'm really grateful that Kerri encouraged me to do this exercise. I've had a lot of technological issues in this last week, and I wasn't sure, about taking the hour to like go through the video, like write everything down and then try and learn it myself and present it, not knowing it well. So I got to stretch while we stretched together, and it was very worthwhile because 86% found it beneficial. So that was really a good call on your part, Kerri, and thank you everybody for participating. I'm going to try not to rush, but there's more things I want to get through. So we're going to take it from there on. And you can go ahead and go to the next slide, Kerri.
Okay, are you seeing that?
Let me close the poll. Is it blank?
Oh, hold on just a second. Let me.
Slide should probably be blank, and then you can go right on to the next slide after the blank slide.
Okay. Will I hit it? Hold on just a second.
Everybody, we get to breathe together now. This is a great practice when things aren't going, even with your colleagues or your family or the families you work with the way that you want it to, or with your computer, to just take that moment. If that wheel is spinning round and round and the computer isn't moving, it's hard to do this. But if you could, oh, wow, I get to pause. When I couldn't use my computer for like 2 evenings because of issues like that in this last week, and I wanted to be preparing for my first webinar, I guess I have to go on a longer walk.
For some reason,
you want me to try on my end? You want to make me presenter again and see if things have changed?
I do want to make you presenter again, so let's do that and see if that works.
I am looking at all of you. I know your names. I know some of you by sight. Oh, well, that's interesting. Oh.
It says share your screen, right?
Now I'm going to go out and back in because it was there. My mouse is back. Okay, great. Do you see anything?
Yes, just put it.
I have to get back to it. Oh,
yep,
wait.
There we go.
Where we were. And then let's go to the next screen.
Now you're in control.
I went kind of fast with that. And that's what I find when I go fast like that. I look like this woman before I had salt and pepper hair. And if any of you can put it in the chat box if you want, if any of you relate to how she looks, like, I think that was a time, like, we did the yoga practically so we didn't end up like this after all those words I was sharing with you. And then if I said you're going to have a test on this, like what percentage had it worked for, you might look like that. And I'm wondering how, if some of you might have been feeling like that even before the pandemic and especially since. And where you'll notice here, can you see my arrow, Kerri? Kerri, can you see my arrow on time to pause underneath?
Yes.
I loved that I was able to do this. Like, again, this wasn't an accident. But a lot of accidents can happen when we're feeling this way if we don't take the time we needed. When you just feel off balance, off center, and kind of askew. And how do we get back to that? How do we change the lens, so to speak? How do we get a different view? Well, yoga seemed to help for a lot of people. Taking that breath, let's take a little more time. Let's pretend we were that woman and like, what does it take? We just pretend that we just did the yoga. And then we maybe did some, if it worked for you, some of that orienting that we did with our eyes, or the resourcing, finding something nice. And then maybe the view changes. What looked horrible might then look like this. This is a new view, a new lens that could be available to us. I think it's amazing sometime when nothing's changed on the external, but I maybe take the time to breathe and something changes inside and everything looks different. It's like a new window. And I'd love to just linger on this slide. I'm going to move to the next one. But I'm going to pause for a moment. Like, when I'm this woman, I find that things don't go so well, including when I'm interacting with other people. And if I don't pause and I'm already feeling that way and something catches me off guard, like I was waiting for the Apple tech and they'd been really nice the whole time, the computer tech folks, but I was hoping I wasn't being recorded because I was just frustrated and I expressed my frustration on the phone, not to any person in particular. That's a small way, but I've been surprised how much time, there's no time to pause. Like my reaction just comes like that. And so I wanted to give a little illustration of this. It's used often in mindfulness. You know, we have a stimulus, something happens. I'm preparing for this big webinar, and for like a week and a half, my computer, things are happening, my new computer that I had to get in order to do the webinar. So we have something that happens and a reaction. Stimulo, reacción, stimulus, reaction. So what's the alternative? I love this quote. This is from a man, a therapist who went through the Holocaust and came out with some brilliant, his intention was, I'm going to go through this, just like this might be our intention to the pandemic, and I'm going to learn something that I can bring forth. And what he says is, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response rather than our reaction. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. That reaction is habitual. Like I said, if I could choose, if I had the freedom, I wouldn't choose to sometimes say the things that I've said to people or react in ways that I have. So here we go. Instead of going from stimulus to reaction, here's that space. And we've been practicing that space with a pause. From stimulus to response, it gives us that breathing space. But how do we do that? As I said, I've done a lot of practices. It takes practice over and over and over. So we're going to do a little bit of breathing practice here. So assuming you can see me, what I'd like you to do again is we're going to do a few practices. We're going to check in after each, but not have a poll till the end. So I'd like you to put your feet on the ground, check in with how you're feeling mentally, emotionally, physically. And then this is an exercise that you can do on your own real quickly. You can do it with your clients. You can do it with your family or kids. So put your arms by your side. If you'd like to stand up, you can do it lying down. You can lie down. You can lie on the floor. You can stand up. You can sit in your chair and let your arms just float up into the air as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, bring your arms down gently. I might even say allow them to gently come down. You don't have to do anything. Just let gravity take them down. And do that a couple more times on your own. Inhaling. See if you can notice your bottom on the whatever you're sitting on, or your feet on the ground, supporting you. And another time. And check in and see how you're feeling now. We did that for less than a minute. See if you notice anything different in your mind, in your body, your heart. I'm going to move on to the next slide here. These are some children doing this who I worked with in India. I've shown you this slide. These children were children of sex trafficked women, prostituted women in India that I had the privilege to work with. And they were in an after school program. There were teachers that were paid to do their regular after school and then volunteered to do this. And they asked me to come do this with them, and they loved it. Point being, these are universal practices that worked in these very difficult circumstances. In our now current circumstances, we'll find out how they work. So from California to Calcutta, all around the world, and then different ages too. This is a group of teachers. You'll see some of the teachers. We did it in two separate groups because it was too big to do all at once. And then we have these young women, the teenagers, and the children sat in the back and entertained themselves, but this little 2-3-year-old, she wanted to be a part of this exercise so badly. And it was so cute. I have a picture where you can see her head bobbing forward because she couldn't stay awake. Her eyes were drooping and she got so relaxed she fell asleep. So this exercise is called belly breathing. And I'm just going to go through it somewhat quickly. There is on my website, and I have the link to that listed for you on a resources page that you'll get, as well as a handout, a resources page on the slideshow, as well as a handout. So I'm going to go through it more quickly, but you can download that exercise and listen to it. So go ahead and put your hands on your belly and breathe in and out. And normally I would ask you a question and get a response, but I'm going to just speak it since you're all muted. And I'm wondering if you can feel what you feel. First, notice what you feel as you're breathing in and out. I notice adults more often might say they noticed calm or something like that, whereas younger kids, and this is what I'm looking for, will notice a sensation. Like, do you notice your belly going up and down, back and forth, pushing your hands in and out? And you'll notice that some people have their hands on their belly and some on their chest. So then I want you to put your hands on your chest. Breathe in and out and notice what you feel. And then notice where you felt the breaths more strong. And that's where I want you to place your hands during this exercise. If you could feel it more with your hands on your chest, leave them there. If more on your belly, leave them there. And now I want you to put your hands there, and as you breathe in and out, I'm going to say the words, breathing in, breathing out, and you can try to match your breath to my words, but really just go at your own pace. And this is to help you focus your attention. It's a mindfulness exercise to help you focus your attention on your breath, just as I had that focus that brought me that first experience of deep peace. So breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I'm going to say those words a few more times, and then I'm going to stop saying it, and you can say those words silently to yourself along with your breath going in and out, and that will help you focus on your breath. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Now continue to say those words for a few more rounds, just silently to yourself. Go ahead and take your last revolution of breath in and out, and take a moment to check in with how you're feeling in your body, in your mind, in your heart. You can do a little internal check with your thumbs up, down, or in the middle, because these exercises may have different effects on you. And sometimes there's a more cumulative effect, like after doing one, you feel more relaxed after you do the next, because you needed the extra to get to where you're going. And I'm just going to do a few of the next one. Oh, I do want to say that this exercise, a lot of people, children to adults, have said that they do this at night to help them sleep. And I've done it, especially before speaking or events like this, if I'm not sleeping, and I'll just help calm my mind, you know, by focusing on the breathing in and breathing out. So the next one is a really fun one to do with kids. And I've had the experience, and I've spoken with others who have had it actually help when they had some tension with a loved one. And it's called animal breathing. And we're just going to do a few. Kids will come up with a lot of ideas for animals. If we had more time, I'd have you put it in the chat box, but I'm just going to come up with them. One that you can do is you can ask the kids to breathe like a crocodile. So here's, and then you use your breath to match the movements. So here's the crocodile jaws, and breathing in, out. And I forgot the check-in. Go ahead and check in. You just did with how you're feeling. So just remember that. Now breathing in. One more time. I'm just envisioning that you're doing this at home, and somebody may have a 2-year-old tugging on you doing it with you, which would be awesome. So let's do a lion, and this is one like the crocodile that it's not going to calm them necessarily, but it might bring them to greater focus, like get their attention and have them be more present. So we're going to do the lion. And then when I asked people to do things, somebody said, do the monkey, mono. And I said, I don't know how to do that. How would you do it? And she had a great one. So this was the monkey. And then there's so many you could do, but I'm kind of cruising through these so that you can have the experience. Actually, the horse and the elephant are kind of the same. Let's do the horse. Nay. Yay! I'm going to ask people to put in the chat box if they were doing these because I'm really curious. And then let's do some more calming ones like the butterfly or the mariposa. If you're really close to each other in a circle, you have to do it forward and back, and so that you can see my arms, I'm doing it this way, but you would normally do it side by side. It could also be the bird, pájaro. That can be really good before nap time if you're working with kids. And one, when I was working in Richmond, California, which those children have experienced a lot of trauma, I was so surprised. The 4th or 5th grade class that was totally out of control. What they liked the most, it's not an animal, but was the rainbow. I came back into the classroom and they were just crying out. These boys who were like really tough were, let's do the rainbow. So put your right hand on one side and lift your left hand up in the air. If you don't know which is your left, it's the other hand, and put it on top of your right. I didn't get to hear if you laughed. And now we're going to do the rainbow, or arco iris, I think it's called. Get that stretch. And now take a deep breath and check in after doing all those exercises. Those real quickly, we went through those. You'll have a handout that has more information about it and access to the breathing in, breathing out audio download. And just check in if you're feeling more or less, more present, more connected, more relaxed, less so, didn't work so well for you. You're gonna have to calibrate all of those because we didn't do the thumbs up on different ones. We didn't have time, or thumbs up and down, or just the same. And if you want to do those again, you'll have all the information you need. I have the handouts in both English and Spanish for that one. And let's launch a poll about that. And while Kerri's launching the poll, I'm gonna just say a few words, which is simply, Kerri mentioned oxygen. A few of you mentioned feeling dizzy. Kerri, did you get my suggestion to launch the poll or my request?
Yes. Is it the same poll or the last poll?
Same poll.
Same poll. Okay. There we go.
And that's the last one of our polls. Is that right? No, we have one more. Okay.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
But not a lot of time, so we may not do it. So yeah, just what all of these had in common, I'll normally ask you, but just because of our format, is they were all about bringing more oxygen into our bodies. And we need, oxygen is like food for our brain and our bodies. We need it to function fully, to function optimally, to be able to make better decisions, better choices, to calm our nervous system. So these are some real simple exercises that you can use for yourself, with your families, with your clients, in all different settings, and you can adapt them. There are a number of things I did on those that I learned from my students, from them making different changes. So people responding to the poll, Kerri?
Yes, I love how Lawrence commented that his inner 2-year-old child came out. So that's awesome. I know, and to share it with our some are saying they can't wait to share it with their grandchildren or their children. So we have almost half of you that have voted. I'm going to go ahead and close in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, because we're going to move through these next ones here.
Yeah, we are at 11:19, Zoe. I just want to remind you of time. So
ask for a warning.
I'm going to close in, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then let's share the results. So 80% thumbs up, 18% thumbs in the middle, 3% thumbs up and down, and the numbers are going up. 45% want to practice this again and or share with others. So that's wonderful.
That's great. And I would suggest the people who were at the 3%, maybe work on adapting your breath to see if it might work for you, because you've seen how it worked for others. And some of it did work for you. I got that. And you might consider sharing it with others too, because you saw how it worked for others. So I'm going to go on to the next slide. And what I'm about to do next is a deep guided relaxation. If we had more time, I would do a much longer one. I'm going to do it longer than the first one, but probably not more than a couple minutes or 3 minutes. And the great thing though, is you will have access to a full 30-minute guided relaxation, 20 minutes of me guiding you through it. There's one in English and one in Spanish. And then 10 minutes of just the music behind it. We were not able to get the music to play through this particular platform, this particular webinar. It's really nice with the music, but we're gonna go ahead and practice it. So you can either just look gently at the blank screen, take in that space, what it's like to just clear your mind. And if you want, you can allow your eyes to gently close and take some deep breaths. You've been practicing breathing all the way down into your legs, up through your legs, your lungs and your bottom, all the way up through your heart, and continuing going up if you can. So take a few deep breaths. And now I'm going to ask you to notice how you're feeling in your mind, your body, your heart. And another mindfulness technique is, it's called a body scan. So just take your attention and bring it to your head and to your face, just your attention. You don't have to touch it, you can. Touch it with your attention, your awareness, your shoulders, and just bring it all the way down your body. And as you bring it down, just notice how you're feeling. Maybe you'll want to breathe into those parts. A beautiful painting just fell, and all is well. Deep breath. And then if you want to, you can put your hand on your heart and breathe in and out through your heart. And just take a moment to notice how you feel in your heart and to give yourself some gratitude and appreciation for showing up today and trying these activities. And some of your lives are busier than ever. A lot of people are saying that they have all this time and they're bored, but I know for a lot of you, it's busier than ever. And you took this time to pause so that you could serve your clients better, so you can serve yourself better, and hopefully experience more joy and presence with what is working. And also just fill your heart up with all that love that you give out helping others, but let that come back to you 100 times more to fill your heart back up. That's what today's about, filling ourselves back up. And you can just remember the different activities you did, the yoga, that really short grounding exercise in the beginning that still made a difference to many. The orienting, the mindful seeing, the resourcing with your eyes, the animal breathing and belly breathing and hands up and down, and knowing that you're doing this with all these other people in your field, all these other folks working with families in these situations. And just imagine that whatever calm or peace you're feeling right now, if you're even just feeling a little bit more serenity than when you started or a lot more, imagine that just imprinting in your body as though it's like a physical, emotional, mental photograph that you can return to. And you're going to have all these resources afterwards that you can go to. You can listen to the audio, you can watch the video as many times as you want, knowing that you can return to center. All of you who showed thumbs up, you can bring yourself back to that. You did it today, you can do it again. And it's practice that helps you do it. So imagine yourself maybe getting pulled off center by the many things that pull us off. And imagine taking that breath, whatever it is, to come back to center. And go ahead and slowly open your eyes when you're ready. We did that quickly. And I'm not going to do a poll. I would love to know how it was, but I'm going to keep us moving through. And so if you want to put in the chat how that was for you, that would be wonderful. And if you want to put where you went, that would be great. This is a place that I go to. It's really important in these times when we don't have so much access to nature and places outside that we might feel safe and serene in. It's really important always, but more than ever, to have a place that we can go to inside, that we can access that, which other safe places that are outside of us can bring. It's important to have an external and internal safe place. If you don't have that outside anymore, or if your clients don't, how can you create that somewhere in your house and in yourself? And that's really what this deep relaxation is about. This is on the coast, Sonoma Coast, where I live. So I look forward to reading the chat box afterwards. And if there's anything you feel you really want to read out, you can, Kerri or Alma, but I'm going to move on.
Zoe,
Yes.
Olga Lucia wants to know, how can I correctly coordinate my breathing exercise along with the stretches?
Okay, thank you for asking the question. That's a really good, what I would say, I totally understand that question. What I would say is that I wouldn't worry about it. I have issues with that too. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. And you can look on the internet about accurate breathing exercises, and you will find, I'm almost sure, so many different instructions on when you should breathe in and when you should breathe out. And so you could try experimenting with different ones. There's not one absolute way, although different people will feel there are absolute ways. So more importantly is to get the breath and pay attention to the breath. And to notice how you might need to slow down other functions, like I said, with the hands in order to have the hands and the breath going at the same time. And you might notice that as you breathe in, your belly goes out. It fills with air. And as you breathe out, it goes in. And you can practice with that. And there's nothing wrong if you're not noticing that. The fact that you're breathing is what's right. And that's wonderful. So, Kerri, I have a quick question. Can we go a few minutes over or not?
People will leave when they need to leave, but yes, we can go a few minutes over. Yeah.
Just be a few minutes. One thing, there we go. I want to say, I am so grateful to all of you. You're doing the work that I'm not doing anymore because I'm working with folks like you who are doing the work. It was, some of the happiest, most fulfilling, and in some ways challenging. I think what you're doing right now is so much more challenging work that I've done. And so I love that when I looked up gratitude pictures and I saw this, and though these are all bigger, look where the hearts are. The hearts are like all around the nonprofit workers. And so I just want to say I'm so grateful to you. And I also want to say that gratitude is a wonderful resource, a wonderful resource. They've done so many studies on how that impacts our nervous system. Classrooms who do a gratefulness journal every day, a gratitude journal, like they have better test scores, which I don't care about that in that same way. It's like you can feel better from it. It can really help you change that lens. We talked about changing that lens. I notice it hugely when I practice every day. I start seeing things in my house that I like rather than things that need fixing and that I haven't completed. So I would like you to take a moment and just, if you want to put in the chat box, we're just going to do this quickly. I may move on because I want to honor your time, and just write something that you're grateful for. And you can put it in the chat box, and I look forward to reading that afterwards. If we have a way to send that to you, we will. I'm so grateful for all of you being here. And I'm just going to go right on to this slide you will have as a handout. These are, I mentioned, you'll have the audio programs, the breathing in, breathing out audio program you can download from my website. In the schools, there's so many mindfulness resources, but this is a great one. They have a free online mindfulness class for kids. You can do that with your kids and grandkids. Here's the trauma-informed mindfulness practices, and I noticed they put something else, I think, for kids online just today. And I know you all have so many resources. If we had more time, I would love to hear how you calm yourself, but from the looks of how you responded, it looked to me, with the polls, like you did a really good job today of like finding that chill factor. Can you see on her teacup, it says chill? And I hope that some of you can put it in your chat if you're feeling that way more, if you've arrived at that. And we've got 1 minute left, and this is just about a minute. I wanted to sing you a song because I feel like, during these times we go away from what's really enlivening and joy bringing about life, like with a new child. And so I'm hoping that for some of you, it's a renewed practice or a new practice that you can apply, kind of like a birth. You've been born back into your relaxation. So this is a song for you and my ukulele. Can you see me, Kerri? Since I'm
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, so I am really grateful and happy that I saw that you were having results, and Kerri shared some of those. So sing along if you'd like. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. I rejoice in your birth. Rejoice, 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 everybody. Welcome to this earth. Thank you for all that you've done. This is your birth into relaxation. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. I rejoice in our birth. Rejoice, 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 everybody. Welcome to this earth. In hopefully a renewed way that you can bring, most importantly, to yourself and carry forth, and to the others in your life. And I want to just end on this this particular take care slide, and I want to share a quote from someone named Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, or maybe it's Yogananda Paramahansa. And he was a teacher who came from India, and I believe the 20s, and he taught mindfulness and meditation to anybody who wanted to learn. It didn't matter their background, their religion. And one thing he said, speaking of birth, is to treat your serenity as though it's a precious infant. If something happened, you wouldn't just toss it aside. You know, you're carrying your precious infant and then, whoops, the painting fell down. You're not gonna go, whoops, I better go pick that up. So any little bit of precious serenity, relaxation, peace that you felt today, I want to really encourage you to do everything you can to care for that and nurture it when things do come up, that will come up, so that you can continue to grow and build that. Feel free to contact me with any questions, anything at all. My information is all on the handouts. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Take care, and just remember that pause. Take that time for yourself. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here for my first webinar.
Thank you so much, Zoe. We appreciate this. I think this is something that we all needed to take time to do. Thank you for all of you who have joined us today. Let's take time to pause. Take time to pause and have gratitude. And we'll see you all soon.
Bye, everybody. Please take good care.